The Highway Code is published by the Department for Transport and is licensed under the Open Government Licence version 3.0. For more information, click on the link in the description below. Lines and lane markings on the road. Rules 127 to 132. Rule 127. A broken white line. This marks the centre of the road. When this line lengthens and the gaps shorten, it means there is a hazard ahead. Do not cross it unless you can see the road is clear and you wish to overtake or turn off. Rule 128. Double white lines where the line nearer to you is broken. This means you may cross the lines to overtake if it is safe, provided you can complete the manoeuvre before reaching a solid white line on your side. White direction arrows on the road indicate that you need to get back onto your own side of the road. Rule 129. Double white lines where the line nearer to you is solid. This means you must not cross or straddle it unless it is safe and you need to enter adjoining premises or a side road. You may cross the line if necessary, provided the road is clear, to pass a stationary vehicle or overtake a pedal cycle, horse or road maintenance vehicle if they are travelling at 10 miles per hour or less. Rule 130. Areas of white diagonal stripes or chevrons painted on the road. These are to separate traffic lanes or to protect traffic turning right. If the area is bordered by a broken white line, you should not enter the area unless it is necessary and you can see that it is safe to do so. If the area is marked with chevrons and bordered by solid white lines, you must not enter it except in an emergency. Rule 131. Lane dividers. These are short, broken white lines which are used on wide carriageways to divide them into lanes. You should keep between them. Rule 132. Reflective road studs may be used with white lines. White studs mark the lanes or the middle of the road. Red studs mark the left edge of the road. Amber studs mark the central reservation of a dual carriageway or motorway. Green studs mark the edge of the main carriageway at lay-bys and slip roads. Green or yellow studs indicate temporary adjustments to lane layouts, for example when roadworks are taking place. Inclusive Driving has produced another video specifically about the reflective road studs. See the link in the corner of the screen for that. Multi-lane carriageways. Rules 133 to 143. Lane discipline. Rule 133. If you need to change lane, first use your mirrors and, if necessary, take a quick sideways glance to make sure you will not force another road user to change course or speed. When it is safe to do so, signal to indicate your intentions to other road users, and when clear, move over. Rule 134. You should follow the signs and road markings and get into the lane as directed. In congested road conditions, do not change lanes unnecessarily. Merging in turn is recommended, but only if safe and appropriate when vehicles are travelling at very low speed, for example, approaching roadworks or a road traffic incident. It is not recommended at high speed. Single carriageways. Rule 135. Where a single carriageway has 3 lanes and the road markings or signs do not give priority to traffic in either direction, use the middle lane only for overtaking or turning right. Remember, you have no more right to use the middle lane than a driver coming from the opposite direction. Do not use the right-hand lane. Rule 136. Where a single carriageway has 4 or more lanes, use only the lanes that signs or markings indicate. Dual carriageways. A dual carriageway is a road which has a central reservation to separate the carriageways. Rule 137. On a 2-lane dual carriageway, you should stay in the left-hand lane. Use the right-hand lane for overtaking or turning right. After overtaking, move back to the left-hand lane when it is safe to do so. Rule 138. On a dual carriageway with 3 or more lanes, you may use the middle lanes or the right-hand lane to overtake, but you should return to the middle lanes and then the left-hand lane when it is safe to do so. Rule 139. Climbing and crawler lanes. These are provided on some hills. Use this lane if you are driving a slow-moving vehicle or if there are vehicles behind you wishing to overtake. Be aware of the signs and road markings which indicate the lane is about to end. Rule 140. Cycle lanes and cycle tracks. Cycle lanes are shown by road markings and signs. You must not drive or park in a cycle lane marked by a solid white line during its times of operation. Do not drive or park in a cycle lane marked by a broken white line unless it is unavoidable. You must not park in any cycle lane while waiting restrictions apply. You should give way to any cyclists in a cycle lane, including when they are approaching from behind you. Do not cut across them when you are turning or when you are changing lane. See Rule H3. Be prepared to stop and wait for a safe gap in the flow of cyclists before crossing the cycle lane. Cycle tracks are routes for cyclists that are physically protected or located away from motor traffic, other than where they cross side roads. Cycle tracks may be shared with pedestrians. You should give way to cyclists approaching or using the cycle track when you are turning into or out of a junction. See Rule H3. Be prepared to stop and wait for a safe gap in the flow of cyclists before crossing the cycle track, which may be used by cyclists travelling in both directions. Bear in mind that cyclists are not obliged to use cycle lanes or cycle tracks. Rule 141. Bus lanes. These are shown by road markings and signs that indicate which, if any, other vehicles are permitted to use the bus lane. Unless otherwise indicated, you should not drive in a bus lane during its period of operation. You may enter a bus lane to stop, to load or unload where this is not prohibited. Rule 142. High occupancy vehicle lanes and other designated vehicle lanes. Lanes may be restricted for use by particular types of vehicle. These restrictions may apply some or all of the time. The operating times and vehicle types will be indicated on the accompanying traffic signs. You must not drive in such lanes during their times of operation unless signs indicate that your vehicle is permitted. Vehicles permitted to use designated lanes may or may not include cycles, buses, taxis, licensed private hire vehicles, motorcycles, heavy goods vehicles and high occupancy vehicles. Where high occupancy vehicle lanes are in operation, they must only be used by vehicles containing at least the minimum number of people indicated on the traffic signs, or any other vehicles such as buses and motorcycles as indicated on signs prior to the start of the lane, irrespective of the number of occupants. Rule 143. One-way streets. Traffic must travel in the direction indicated by signs. Buses and or cycles may have a contraflow lane. Choose the correct lane for your exit as soon as you can. Do not change lanes suddenly. Unless road signs or markings indicate otherwise, you should use the left-hand lane when going left, the right-hand lane when going right, and the most appropriate lane when going straight ahead. Remember, traffic could be passing on both sides. General advice, rules 144 to 158. Rule 144. You must not drive dangerously. You must not drive without due care and attention. You must not drive without reasonable consideration for other road users. Driving requires focus and attention at all times. Remember, you may be driving dangerously or travelling too fast, even if you don't mean to. Rule 145. You must not drive on or over a pavement, footpath or bridleway except to gain lawful access to property or in the case of an emergency. Rule 146. Adapt your driving to the appropriate type and condition of road you are on. In particular, do not treat speed limits as a target. It is often not appropriate or safe to drive at the maximum speed limit. Take the road and traffic conditions into account. Be prepared for unexpected or difficult situations. For example, the road being blocked beyond a blind bend. Be prepared to adjust your speed as a precaution. Where there are junctions, be prepared for road users emerging. In side roads and country lanes, look out for unmarked junctions where nobody has priority. Be prepared to stop at traffic control systems, roadworks, pedestrian crossings, or traffic lights as necessary. Try to anticipate what pedestrians and cyclists might do. If pedestrians, particularly children, are looking the other way, they may step out into the road without seeing you. Rule 147. Be considerate. Be careful of and considerate towards all types of road users, especially those requiring extra care. See Rule 204. You must not throw anything out of a vehicle, for example, food or food packaging, cigarette ends, cans, paper or carrier bags. This can endanger other road users, particularly motorcyclists and cyclists. Try to be understanding if other road users cause problems. They may be inexperienced or not know the area well. Be patient. Remember that anyone can make a mistake. Do not allow yourself to become agitated or involved if someone is behaving badly on the road. This will only make the situation worse. Pull over, calm down, and when you feel relaxed, continue your journey. Slow down and hold back if a road user pulls out into your path at a junction. Allow them to get clear. Do not overreact by driving too close behind to intimidate them. Rule 148. Safe driving and riding needs concentration. Avoid distractions when driving or riding, such as loud music. This may mask other sounds. Trying to read maps. Starting or adjusting any music or radio. Arguing with your passengers or other road users. Eating and drinking. And smoking. You must not smoke in public transport vehicles or in vehicles used for work purposes in certain prescribed circumstances. Separate regulations apply to England, Wales and Scotland. In England and Wales, the driver must not smoke or allow anyone to smoke in an enclosed private vehicle carrying someone under 18, including motor caravans. In Scotland, it is an offence for anyone aged 18 or over to smoke in a private motor vehicle, unless it is parked and being used as living accommodation, when there is someone under 18 in the vehicle and the vehicle is in a public place. Mobile phones and in-vehicle technology. Rule 149. You must exercise proper control of your vehicle at all times. you must not use a handheld mobile phone or similar device capable of interactive communication, such as a tablet, for any purpose when driving or when supervising a learner driver. This ban covers all use of a handheld interactive communication device, and it applies even when the interactive communication capability is turned off or unavailable. You must not pick up the phone or similar device while driving to dial a number and then put it in the cradle for the duration of the conversation. You must not pick up and use your handheld phone or similar device while stationary in traffic. There is an exception to call 999 or 112 in a genuine emergency when it is unsafe or impractical to stop. There is also an exception if you are using a handheld mobile phone or similar device to make a contactless payment at a contactless payment terminal. Your vehicle must be stationary, and the goods or services must be received at the same time as or after the contactless payment. Never use a handheld microphone when driving. Using hands-free equipment is also likely to distract your attention from the road. It is far safer not to use any telephone or similar device while you are driving or riding. Find a safe place to stop first, or use the voicemail facility and listen to messages later. You may park your vehicle using a handheld remote control app or device. The app or device must be legal, and you should not put other people in danger when you use it. Rule 150. There is a danger of driver distraction being caused by in-vehicle systems such as satellite navigation systems, congestion warning systems, PCs, multimedia, etc. You must exercise proper control of your vehicle at all times. Do not rely on driver assistance systems such as motorway assist, lane departure warnings, or remote control parking. They are available to assist, but you should not reduce your concentration levels. Do not be distracted by maps or screen-based information such as navigation or vehicle management systems while driving or riding. If necessary, find a safe place to stop. As the driver, you are still responsible for the vehicle if you use a driver assistance system like motorway assist. This is also the case if you use a handheld remote control parking app or device. You must have full control over these systems at all times. Rule 151. In slow-moving traffic, you should reduce the distance between you and the vehicle ahead to maintain traffic flow. Never get so close to the vehicle in front that you cannot stop safely. Leave enough space to be able to manoeuvre if the vehicle in front breaks down or an emergency vehicle needs to get past. You should not change lanes to the left to overtake. Allow access into and from side roads, as blocking these will add to congestion. Allow pedestrians and cyclists to cross in front of you. You should be aware of cyclists and motorcyclists who may be passing on either side. Driving in built-up areas. Rule 152. Residential streets. You should drive slowly and carefully on streets where there are likely to be pedestrians, cyclists and parked cars. In some areas, a 20 mph maximum speed limit may be in force. Look out for vehicles emerging from junctions or driveways. Look out for vehicles moving off, car doors opening, and pedestrians. Look out for children running out from between parked cars, and look out for cyclists and motorcyclists. Rule 153. Traffic calming measures. On some roads, there are features such as road humps, chicanes and narrowings which are intended to slow you down. When you approach these features, reduce your speed. Allow cyclists and motorcyclists room to pass through them. Maintain a reduced speed along the whole of the stretch of the road within the traffic calming measures. Give way to oncoming road users if directed to do so by signs. You should not overtake other moving road users while in these areas. Country roads. Rule 154. Take extra care on country roads and reduce your speed at approaches to bends, which can be sharper than they appear, and at junctions and turnings which may be partially hidden. Be prepared for pedestrians, horse riders, cyclists, slow-moving farm vehicles or mud on the road surface. Make sure you can stop within the distance you can see to be clear. You should also reduce your speed where country roads enter villages. Rule 155. Single track roads. These are only wide enough for one vehicle. They may have special passing places. If you see a vehicle coming towards you or the driver behind wants to overtake, pull into a passing place on your left or wait opposite a passing place on your right. Give way to road users coming uphill whenever you can. If necessary, reverse until you reach a passing place to let the other vehicle pass. Slow down when passing pedestrians, cyclists and horse riders. Rule 156. Do not park in passing places. Rule 157. Certain motorised vehicles do not meet the construction and technical requirements for road vehicles and are generally not intended, not suitable and not legal for road, pavement, footpath, cycle path or bridleway use. These include most types of miniature motorcycle, also called mini-motos, and motorised scooters, also called go-peds, which are powered by electric or internal combustion engines. These types of vehicle must not be used on roads, pavements, footpaths or bridleways. Rule 158. Certain models of motorcycles, motor tricycles and quadricycles, also called quad bikes, are suitable only for off-road use and do not meet legal standards for use on roads. Vehicles that do not meet these standards must not be used on roads. They must not be used on pavements, footpaths, cycle paths or bridleways either. You must make sure that any motorcycle, motor tricycle, quadricycle or any other motor vehicle meets legal standards and is properly registered, taxed and insured before using it on the roads. Even when registered, taxed and insured for the road, vehicles must not be used on pavements.